Everyone knows that foods are really wonderful when they're homemade. You just can't buy anything like it in stores. A quote by Patricia Wright. It's fall time, which means Halloween is just around the bend. However, how many of you have actually tried making your own candy before? Did you know that the average American household spends $44 a year on Halloween candy? Why would you spend that much on just a bag of caramels when you can make your own? It's not that hard. I mean, go ahead, try one of these caramels. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't. But you can keep this for the kids, but why don't you make something better for yourself? It's not that hard, and it's better than the store-bought junk. I've been working at a chocolate and confectionery store since my junior year in high school, and I wouldn't want it any other way. This summer, our confection chef moved out west, and so he left me with all his treats and recipes. And today I will show you one of those recipes. Today I'd like to demonstrate how to make homemade caramel, including material and procedure. First of all, materials. We'll begin off with the pan ingredients. We all know what sugar is. There's superfine sugar, sugar in the raw, sugar, sweeteners, and of course powdered sugar. This is just granulated sugar, the most common kind, which is basically means it's a disaccharide. What is a disaccharide? It's two sugar molecules formed together. And because two sugar molecules are already formed together, others want to come and join the party. And that's bad. Because when that happens, it's something that confectioners call crystallization. And it creates a grainy and very unappealing texture, especially in caramels. So while sugar is needed, it's kind of like the bad guy. Let's put it that way. So every bad guy needs a good guy, right? And that's where glucose comes in, or in this case, light corn syrup. What glucose does is it puts the sugar molecules in a suspended state so that they aren't able to crystallize with each other. It's a monosaccharide, so it doesn't have that. It's just one sugar molecule. Alas, because sugar is the bad guy, it has allies. And that would be honey. Honey is an inverted sugar, which means it's the exact opposite of glucose, meaning it likes to crystallize a lot. So we need to add even more glucose in order to counteract the honey's very evil tendencies. And lastly, water. Water's like the snack table at a party. It gets everybody all comfortable together, you know, mingling and really relaxing, and then it goes away when there's no more food left. Water does basically the same thing. It gets everybody integrated, and then most of it is evaporated later. Next, the bowl ingredients. There's nothing really too specific about the bowl ingredients. You have cream for sweetness and for smoothness. You have sweetened condensed milk for even more sweetness. You have butter for a very creamy texture. Vanilla, which is the main flavor in caramels. And then salt for a flavor enhancer. Now you have to cook these ingredients in a bowl. Otherwise, if you cook them all at once, the milk will scorch, burn, and it will be rather unpleasant to eat. And finally, the procedure. The first thing you want to do is weigh out your ingredients. Now, confectionery is a lot like baking in the fact that if you don't have the measurements just right, your product will most likely end up deformed and more than likely crystallized, which remember, we do not want. Now we will be measuring everything today in grams because it's a lot more consistent system than using cups and teaspoons. I already have 89 grams of honey in here and 78 grams of corn syrup. To that, I will be adding 300 grams of sugar, like so, and 75 grams of water. You will be giving this a big stir before you put it on the stove top. Next, the bowl ingredients, which, remember, we're cooking separately. In this, I already have 65 grams of sweetened condensed milk. To this, I will be adding 1 gram of vanilla, 6 grams of salt, 57 grams of butter, which you just kind of use your hands to get out. They're washed. And 200 grams of cream. So you just zero it out. And you put your cream in there. And that's really all the ingredients that are in caramel. It's very much easier to do than you would expect. Okay. Now that everything is measured out, I'm going to cook all the sugars to 327 degrees Fahrenheit. I will be cooking this on 10 speed, but you'll want to cook it on high if at all possible. This is basically what gives caramel its brown color and is the foundation of all the flavor. We are not going to stir during this time because if we do, the sugar will clump together and cause crystallization, which we do not want. Instead, we're going to go heat up the cream. Now, if you're doing this at home, you may just want to heat this up on a stovetop, which, like I said, is kind of impossible here because we really don't have a stove. So we'll be using the microwave. Now, you want to get these temperatures as close as possible to one another because when you have a cold ingredient to a hot ingredient, it will splatter. And having 327 degrees sugar on your skin hurts a lot. I know from experience. So we cook this as much as possible at 1 minute increments until it starts to boil. When it gets to 327 degrees, we are going to carefully pour this in. Now you're going to be wanting to wear sleeves because no matter how hot you get it, you will not get it as hot as 327 degrees sugar. So pour it in very gently. And then you will stir. And we are going to stir until it gets to 254 degrees Fahrenheit. When it gets to 254 degrees, we are going to stop this and then we are going to pour it into the silicone. I only say that now because this will be a fast process once it begins. You're going to stop this, take this out, and then carefully, without burning yourself, pour it right in there. And that's all it is. Today I have shown you how to make homemade caramels, including materials and procedure. It doesn't take a lot to make something homemade, but in the end you'll end up with a finished product you're proud of and can brag about, and it'll taste 100 times better than the store-bought caramel. Well, at least in my opinion, but that's just my opinion, and you have yours. So please, at this time, unwrap the white wrapper and enjoy my homemade caramel. Everyone knows the foods we make are really wonderful when they're homemade. You can't buy anything like it in stores, and I implore you to believe in this. Thank you.